The cultural and professional barriers that I've had to overcome. First, when it comes to professional, this is a very, very competitive industry. If you think about the job I have as host of CP24 Breakfast, it's one of 4 jobs in the city. So culturally speaking, going into this field, not exactly the most traditional field that Indian parents say, go for it. But luckily my parents were super supportive. They said, you can do anything, you can be anything you want to be, and we never want to hold you back. So I was very lucky to have support in careers that are non-traditional. Here in the newsroom, I'm constantly going back to the writers and producers and telling them how to pronounce things properly, and it's Pakistan, it's not Pakistan, and it's Muslim, not Muslim, and things like that that make a difference to our viewers who can watch us and know that that diversity is reflected in the people they see every day on air. And also I just remember all the time that I am a strong South Asian woman, that young South Asian girls are watching, and it's so important to be that person for them that they can look to and try to in some way emulate or be inspired by. So always keeping those things in mind. One word to describe my pink attitude would be real. I think it's so important to just be you. Trying to be something you're not involves so much effort, and I really don't think that you should be spending your time and energy on that when you can just channel who you really are. If you bring that to the table, I think it always has a better way of shining, and like, be you and be real, and we'll accept you as you are. My advice to other South Asian women is that as you're going through your journey, you are going to definitely hit some barriers and some obstacles, and for all those doors that close, often people tell you that if one door closes, another one opens. That's probably not very true. A lot of doors will close, and it's really how you handle it. And if I had to measure how many times somebody told me no or I faced rejection, there are far more of those than people telling me yes. And I think often we celebrate success, but we don't focus on the failures in life. And it's really those failures that give you that motivation to kick down those doors and to prove those people wrong and show them what you're really made of.
I think what got me through everything was a combination of things. Definitely my husband. He was definitely my rock. But my daughter, who I think played a very spiritual role in our journey. My husband was really preoccupied with getting me through it, getting himself through it, and making sure nothing fazed my daughter, even though she was young. But she's a very old soul. My daughter was literally my protector at that time, and anytime an injection came close to me, she would come and hold me. And this is a child at that time who's not even 2. She was just barely out of being 1. But she played a role that when I cried, she cried. When I hurt, she hurt. And when a child that young can feel so many emotions, it actually intuitively made me stronger, because I felt like I can't do that to her. So that growth, that evolution just started on its own, where I could be, I have to be strong for her. Forget myself, I wanted to be strong for her, and getting stronger for her every day, I think really helped me get through things. My pink attitude is love. I've learned through my whole journey that at the end of the day, what has gotten me through is learning that how people, not only my husband, my daughter, my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, love me, but really how I need to love myself. My advice to other South Asian women is not to hide behind what's going on. During my journey when I started the blog, I had a lot of South Asian women, kids and mothers reach out to me, thanking me that I was sharing the experience because maybe their mother went through it and didn't tell their kids what they were going through, so their kids didn't know how to support them. Or a young mother's going through it and she didn't know how to share it with her husband or with her kids. So don't hide behind it and just share it and be aware and make others aware, because even in my situation now that I've gone through the treatment, I still learn from other people. So it's a continuous point of evolution for everyone.
I went from a great job as a sales executive in the technology sector to being a personal trainer and nutritionist. And that transition was actually pretty interesting because I didn't do it all at once. I was a little too chicken to quit my job. And so what I did was I continued on with my full-time job, but I also started to build up my personal training and nutrition client base at the same time. And so over the course of about 6 months, I kind of built that up to the point that I was almost working like 2 full-time jobs. So it was crazy. But it was really great because it was like a very stark contrast between happy Sonia doing what she loves and miserable Sonia continuing on with the corporate world. And so I think it was that transition and doing the two simultaneously that really made me realize, like, I just have to make the full transition. I need to quit and I need to really give this a year full time to see if it's something that I truly love and if it's something that I want to do. So I mustered up the guts and I quit my job, and it was a great decision. I don't think South Asian women are any different than any other women. I don't think South Asian women are particularly inactive. I do think that sports play less of a role with South Asian women when growing up. And I think, that's kind of where they don't really get that physical activity ingrained in them early on. But I think South Asian women are becoming more and more active already. You see them in the gym, you see them working hard, they're asking questions, they're trying to learn more. And I think that stigma around, I don't want muscle and I don't want to be bulky and I don't want to look like a man is finally starting to leave the South Asian community, where women are realizing that, you can be strong, you don't have to look like a man, and that going to the gym is good for your health. So, I think it's important to encourage them to continue this trend, but I think we're already doing it. My pink attitude is about being authentic. I think over this entire journey, the one thing I've realized is that, as you get older, it's all about continuing to get to know the real layers. Not the stuff that we were conditioned to know and to believe, in our lovely Indian households as we were growing up, but really to get to know the core of yourself. I think, we are our own barriers more than anyone else is. My advice to South Asian women would be to start to get in touch with that little voice in your head that's screaming at you a little bit to say, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, or I am happy doing what I'm doing, but I want to take a different direction, or I think I can be doing more, or I'm striving for something else. Start to listen to it and see how can you cultivate that a little bit more, because you'll be really happy if you do.
So what inspired me to launch the Peacock Parade is that I always had an entrepreneurial bug. And when I was living in New York, I always had my eyes wide open for opportunities, and an opportunity certainly did present itself. I was an avid shopper of e-commerce businesses based out of the US that weren't shipping to Canada. So my business partner and I saw the opportunity of void in the Canadian market, decided to quit our jobs, write a business plan, raise a little bit of money and uproot our lives and uproot the lives of our husbands. As a consumer turned business owner, nothing thrills me more than to provide Canadian women with access to great brands and products from around the world. We have shipped thousands of products to thousands of consumers, and that continues to inspire me. We're more than a fashion company, we're a tech company. And this is a challenge that so many entrepreneurs within our space face. In a male-dominated industry, it is sometimes difficult to connect to the person that is sitting on the other side of the table as you, and trying to convince them that you are an astute business person that has the foundation and has the passion to build a business. I like to think that we were able to overcome some of those barriers because we were able to raise over $1 million to launch our business back in 2011. Fashion is becoming really homogenous right now, but I think you're going to start seeing more and more people defining their personal style with some unique pieces that they can have in their wardrobe for years and years and years to come. And that's what's really exciting me, especially for my next venture called The Shops Online, a marketplace for emerging designers to showcase their collections and to make a more meaningful impact online that they can monetize. And for consumers, it's a portal for them to discover up-and-coming brands. Our experience at the Peacock Parade has shown us that consumers and designers are ready for a solution like this. My pink attitude is self-belief. You don't know what you're made of until you take chances and you believe in yourself and you go for it. Regardless of what happens, at least you gave it a shot. My advice to South Asian women is to be authentic. I say that word more and more as I get older and hopefully wiser. But I think it's challenging in the age of social media, where so many of us are measuring our lives against others. But I think if you stay the course and you be the person that you are meant to be, you'll live a much more fulfilling life.
As a woman in the South Asian community, you know, there are certain roles that you're expected to play. There are certain expectations of you, and then you're supposed to live by those particular rules or roles. I did to some extent when I was growing up. And then, I don't know, something inside me just kept saying that this is not the way it's meant to be. As a human being, there's equality, there's courage that you have to have. There's a difference that I wanted to make in the world. And I find I'm in the perfect role right now as in healthcare, in a hospital, working in the community, as far as ensuring that I am achieving what I want to achieve with everybody's help. Professionally, in an organization or in a system that really, you know, is still a long way to, it still has a long way to go as far as gender equity or recognizing that a woman can lead a strategy or a framework in health equity and inclusion, which looks after thousands of staff, physicians, volunteers. And so from a professional lens, it has been challenging, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been an amazing journey. I have learned so much when I was at the previous hospital and now at this hospital. And I have to be very honest and say that two of my role models have been male, and they have both been presidents and CEOs. One of Trillium, Ken White, and the other one of William Osler, Matt Anderson. I'm not saying I don't have any female role models, I absolutely do. But professionally speaking, I couldn't have done what I do today and what I have achieved today without Ken and without Matt. My pink attitude, I have been thinking about this, and there are many words I probably could use. I'm going to say not being afraid. I'm not going to say being courageous, because I don't think I've got there yet. But not being afraid, it really does help me. My advice to South Asian women, or women and girls in general, is again, not to be afraid and to be courageous. There's a beautiful verse by Marianne Williamson, and this particular verse has actually been quoted by Nelson Mandela. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. We are all meant to shine.
The world needs just one's kitchen, because we all need to eat more wholesome food at home. We have gone away from it, and we need to teach our children the value of eating healthy, nutritious food at home, and we cannot do that unless we cook it with them at home. So that's what we do at Just One's Kitchen, inspire people to cook more at home with our all-natural Indian spice blends. The recipes are developed using those, and our recipes are healthy, they are easy, they are nutritious, and they're also delicious.
So as an entrepreneur, having really great mentors and role models in your industry is really important, so that you can learn from them and you can emulate them. The food industry has traditionally been very male-dominated. So we have a lot of male entrepreneurs that we've worked with that have really helped us, and we've learned a lot from them, which is really great. But one of the challenges we faced as female entrepreneurs is that there aren't very many other powerful female entrepreneurs that we've connected with. So that's actually why we think the Pink Attitude event tonight is great, because you're bringing together all of these strong, amazing women into one room so that we can connect, learn from each other, and really help each other. I think often we're raised to always be worried about everybody around us, whether it's caring for our parents, or caring for your children, or your husband. We've kind of been taught that caring for everybody else is really important, and often in that process we forget about what's most important to us, or what we may need for our own growth and happiness. So I think my biggest advice to people would be, figure out what you're really passionate about, figure out what's most important to you, and then make it a priority. Find the time to be able to nurture that passion, or whatever it is that you really want to do. And I know people say this all the time. It's kind of like being on a flight, where they say make sure to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you help those around you. So it's the same type of thing in life, that you're only as good as how as the time you've spent on yourself. That's how much you can give to other people. So take the time for yourself. And I think the thing is, we need to teach that to our daughters as well. So be a good role model for our daughters, but also teach our sons that that's what they should expect from women, that they should be able to follow their passions and their creativity, and that's a normal thing, and how they can be supportive of the women in their lives going forward.
One word to describe my Pink Attitude is passion. A passion for life, passion for everything you do in life. So if you put your whole self into whatever you're doing, you're always going to be successful, and you will enjoy it.
The one word that describes my Pink Attitude is resilience. I picked that word because as an entrepreneur and as a female, there are always going to be challenges that you face every day in your business, or even in your personal life. And you just gotta, if you fall, you gotta pick yourself up again and start new. One word to describe my Pink Attitude would be collaboration. I'm all about relationships and connecting with people, and I think collaboration, whether it's in your personal life with your spouse or your children, or with your coworkers, or in this case, in the case of our family, we're collaborating as a family to to bring Indian food to the rest of the world. So much of life is about connecting with people and figuring out what's important to them, and how, you know, there's so many things we have in common with each other. So taking the time to nurture those collaborations and those connections is what I really believe in.